Who do I mean? Oh, perhaps I should remind you. Ah, I see a glimmer of recognition. The devoted, remember? Oh, you tried to forget, didn't you? Oh, but he wouldn't let you, would he? You see, there was one whose nightmarish countenance elicited a sense of forbidden decay which would have made Edgar Allan Poe himself proud. Oh, yes, you can't forget him, because you must always do as Simon says.
Stay precisely where you are, devoted. There's no need for you to move. And it's far too late to consider where you are. You are here in Simon's Sanctorum. And Simon says, watch.
Simon Sanctorum. Now that was a horror host.
I actually really enjoyed that show. I don't know how popular it was. It was on 11:30 at night on Channel 5. And they had a few horror shows before then without a host. And he just kind of appeared out of nowhere. And basically he looked like this very odd guy.
Simon's representative on this plane was Gary Newton. Gary was a brilliant actor, UCLA trained, and a great visual artist as well.
I'd have to go back to 1970, which is when I came to Channel 56 as general manager. And Gary was there as the local artist. And at first I didn't quite understand who or what he was. But after watching him for a little while, you realize he was a genius. It's the best way to say it. Astounding talent in all directions. He could draw, he could write, he could direct. Gary came to me with a script for a show that was still untitled then, but which he thought would be called Simon's Inner Sanctum.
Simon had a very unique approach to horror hosting. Unlike your typical friendly horror host who guides you through the film, Simon had an almost sneering disdain for his devoted, as he called his viewers.
Your eyes, devoted. They are red-rimmed with fear. They see, but they do not perceive. They are covered by a thin film of ignorance. You've been staying up past your bedtime again.
He did these weird, non sequitur little skits that had nothing to do with anything. He was weird looking. He had the dark eyes, and he looked like he was wearing like something that Oscar Wilde had thrown off to a rummage sale. And his hair looked like, had been dipped in Crisco or whatever. He didn't really talk about anything of any import. He didn't give us any clues about the movie or talk to us like we were sane. I guess because he was insane, but...
His inserts were so campy that there were times that he outshone the movies.
He had makeup on that made him look like a zombie or a dead person. He had gloves without any fingers on them. He used to have a snifter full of brandy that sometimes they would film through the glass at him for like this weird angle. And basically he would like recite poetry. He would talk about, he seemed like in a graveyard. He would sit in like this weird throne. He had all these weird things going on where he just seemed like, he would talk to the audience in this very bizarre way. And it was just like, it was a really interesting show.
Simon would often insinuate that his devoted was somehow bound to him, and he would share his mysterious elixir with them. Now, the elixir was important to Simon's longevity, and just about every episode featured an elixir segment.
It's time again, Devoted, for our vessel of elixir. You know how important this is to me, to us, that we partake of this small repast. What? You refuse my invitation? You will soon learn it does no good to defy my will. There. Thank you.
You might have noticed that Simon never talked about the films he was showing. That's because the episodes were taped in advance and then syndicated to stations all over the country, although the show originated in the Boston area.
I think we were on for a year on Channel 5, then went to Los Angeles and Las Vegas. It was so well conceived by Gary that it went into the market and flowed.
Simon also had an unseen companion named Dregma. Now, while Dregma never appeared on screen, he certainly held a very fond place in Simon's black heart.
Oh, Dracula, Dracula, come to Simon. Come. Oh, Dracula is strangely moody. Oh, come, Dragma. Come.
Things that they'd send things, cookies that Grandma made to feed that poor little person in the dungeon.
Give me your hand. Yes. Now give me the other one. Yes. And now the other one. Oh. Devoted, I think I'm going to need your help in taking the other hand. Come closer, it's all right. Why do you retreat? Why do you back away just when I need you?
Simon was a very literate fellow and would often read from the works of William Shakespeare and other great writers.
He used everything. His background in the theater, his background in writing. There were times when you could look at one of Simon's shows and see some Shakespeare. It was an astounding thing.
It is time, Devoted, to expand that already over-elasticized membrane known as your mind. As useless as it may seem, I will continue to expose you to the classics. Round about the cauldron go, in the poisoned entrails throw. Toad that under cold stone days hast 31. Sweltered venom, sleeping gut, boil thou first in the charmed pot. Double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Do I see some glint of recognition?
Oh, I know that one, Simon. That's William Shakespeare's recipe for chip dip.
No, Devoted. That is not William Shakespeare's recipe for chip dip.
Sorry.
Simon was comedy, but he was very, very bizarre, very tongue-in-cheek.
You groundling, you gnat. Oh, forgive them, Shakespeare. Oh, Forgive me, Shakespeare.
We would get calls, usually on Monday, letters the following week about the parties that had been thrown, Simon's parties, where they'd get a group of young people together and spend the evening being with Simon Sanctorum, watch the show, have fun, make fun of it, have fun with it.
We'd like to send special thanks to Barbara Newton, the wife of the late, great Gary Newton, for providing this footage for us to show you. Also thanks to Simon fan Reuben Pharm for helping us get in touch with Barbara. This footage hasn't been seen in over 30 years, so what you just witnessed was a Shilling Shockers exclusive. Now, Barbara Newton runs the Players' Ring in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, a marvelous theater group that was founded by Gary Newton. You can find out more about the Players' Ring by emailing them here. Now, before we move on, let's show you the final closing segment from Simon's show, and also a few closing words here for you from Mr. J. Berkson, the producer of Simon's Sanctorum.
Gary was the ultimate artist in all directions. But Simon Sanctorum, to me, to this day, is still the best horror insert I've ever seen. There's no doubt he created a giant, and if he had been able to, I think he could have been on the air for many years. But it was good to have had him for as long as I did, and have that show on the air for as long as we did. We got to see something special.
You grow impatient, my moth. Do you wish to fly? Your powdery wings are flexed, your hairy legs primed for your takeoff leap. Oh, become airborne then, devoted. Fly off into the night, unaware of the webs that wait to entangle you. I know you will return to the safety of Simon's Sanctorum.